I was born in El Salvador. My parents are also from El Salvador. I lived with my mother for the first 8 years. My father had to leave whenever I was a few months old. And so I lived for the first few years with my mom. I came to the U.S. to meet my parents when I was 9. We became connected with the Methodist Church when I was 12 years old. My parents became involved. They were always there at church, helping, serving the community. And then when I was 14 years old, I became part of the worship band. I began to help with the music. When I was 15, my parents began to tell me that I didn't have papers. I don't know what that meant. I just knew that I was different than others in my school. I knew that I wouldn't be able to go to college eventually. And so when I graduated from high school, a couple of years later, I started going to a institute, to a music institute. The institute in which I was going to didn't have a formal standing with other schools that were credited, but it was the only school I could go to because I was undocumented. I had to drive. I mean, I really wanted to be educated. I really wanted to do something with my life, but I couldn't. So after being there for a semester, I just said, I cannot be here anymore. I mean, I can't, I'm not gonna be able to do anything with my life even after I graduate from this institute. It won't have any impact in my life. Through that transition, I received a call, and it was my dad who told me that my mom had been detained and incarcerated because she didn't have a license. We went to the jail and we tried to pay the bond, but they told us that my mom had to be deported. 2 weeks later, my dad was also apprehended and incarcerated, and then he was also deported. It was a very tough moment in my life because I was trying to excel, I was trying to get better, I was trying to improve who I was. And the UMC, the United Methodist Church, continued to support me in the midst of the struggle. The Methodist Church decided to walk with me in the process. I graduated from Reinhardt University with the help of my community, with the help of my people. And in that time period, I was serving at Mi Familia Center. And so this was a nonprofit organization that worked with migrant families. And we had programs that were oriented to the lives of those who were at the margins. And so it was there that I found my calling to formally serve, to formally be with the community, serving them and leading them. And it was there that I said, I want to do more. I mean, I want to really do something else. And in this time period, I had an opportunity to go to a migration conference in Germany, and it was done through the national plan. And it was there that I said, no, I mean, I really want to go to seminary. Like, this is what God is really calling me to do. I came back from that trip. I applied to Kettler School of Theology. And I have been there since August of 2015, pursuing the Master of Divinity. Where I am now, it's quite an interesting place. I find myself with a unique type of hope, I would say. So there was always a longing and a yearning that things would get better, and that eventually the migrant communities whom I've been serving for many years would eventually have a better status, so they can improve their families, so they can have a better life. And post-elections, it's been a struggle to believe in that again. But I think that it's a struggle that we must learn from those who come before us, those who have been at the margins. And what they teach us is that God has always been with them, that God has always been with the least of these. And so what I can say is that God is with us, and God is strengthening us, and God has always chosen those on the underside. I would ask all of the representatives, all of the local churches, the UMC, who are white or part of this society, would be to sit down with migrant families, to get to know them, to converse, to be hospitable, and to really get to know the other person who is of flesh, who is of the same humanity. But I would also ask them to go beyond diversity, to go beyond these models of diversity, and to actually think about dignity, and think about how the churches can really walk with us as people who have the same dignity, the same humanity as them, and to really do what God has called them to be a church that's liberating, to be a church that's loving in all its capacities, and to love like God loved us.